Duelist, it is your boy Winster, and I am back at it again with another video. Today we're going to be doing a deck tier list. I got some of the best decks that I think are worth rating, and we're going to put them on the tier list to help you better your game. But before we get started in today's video, we did this live on stream. You guys are going to probably see the chat from time to time come up. Just know you could partake on these streams at any time, guys, when I'm streaming. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. We are so close to 6,000 subscribers, and it's thanks to y'all, everyone who runs up the numbers. I saw like a hype thing. Hype it up. Thank you. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing. Everything that you do, leaving a hateful comment, it all helps the algorithm. So I appreciate you guys, truly. There is a way to help a little bit more. If you have the ability to, please consider becoming a channel member. You guys get early access on all full videos. Shout out on every single one. And you guys can play games with me on Master Duel Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro at a time that best fits for everyone. You can kick it up a level by becoming an Omega Chad. Not only will you get all those other perks, but I can help you with deck edits, playing games with you. We will do all of that on stream if you want to. We could rate your deck on stream when we are streaming. So please consider becoming an Omega Chad or Chad. And if you can't, that's fine too. But I gotta give a shout out to every single one of my channel members. I love every single one of y'all. Shout out to Thomas Mead, Wyme, Quick, Jay, Steve Fox, Devin Bender, Absolutely Looney, Zeke, Tyler Wilson, Leo, Denari, Jared, Hassan, Alejandro, Corey, and our Omega Chat. Always gets a special shout out. My goal, Dragons God 679. Thank you for the support. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Here are some tiers at the very bottom. What are you doing, bruh? Like, for real, what are you doing? Why are you playing this deck? Don't play this deck. Don't do this to yourself. Not even for funsies. Like, it's not worth your time. It really, really isn't. And then we got low tier hero, like somewhat redeemable qualities. You may be able to get your combo line if your starter resolves. Who knows? But considering how many hand traps are in this format right now, not really worth playing. We got mid-range decks where a hand trap or two might stop you, actually. You know? It might stop you, but one isn't going to cut it. It is just not enough. And then we got really strong. Only blowout hand traps really stop us, honestly. We're some of the best in the game. We're going to combo off whether you like it or not. And then we got best in the game. I'm just going to have to do it to you, bro. Like, I'm at the top. It's lonely up here. Those are all the tiers that we have today, and here are our decks. Now, some of these decks, I just want to be clear. For example, we got a Mitsurugi. This is like Mitsurugi Yummy more so than anything, considering that like pure Yummy has like really dissipated. I know that the Yummy is right here, but do not pay him any mind. But we're gonna go ahead and rate this tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and let's get right to it. I want to start off with my homies, Jarek. This is the certified Jarek deck right here. We got Side Strikers. I think there's a lot of hype for this deck right now. This deck not only has a lot of hype, but it has some support. So I'm really excited to see. You've been seeing that like some YCS is really doing some crazy stuff, and they're playing some crazy builds with the Radiant Typhoon guys. Shout out to our Sky Striker player. We got Wyme who's in the chat. That's my boy. That's my brother right there. Make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. I really appreciate it. He is just a collector of sorts, and he has some crazy stuff. And he's always giving me deals. He's always hooking the brother up. But I think it's really strong, actually. It was pretty low on my other tier list because people weren't really playing it. But I would say it's probably a very solid deck. Maybe the top end of like mid-range. Droll destroys this deck. But if you don't got the Droll, they're gonna Raigeki, Thrust, Super, Talons, Upstart Goblin, Upstart Goblin, Upstart Goblin. It's crazy. This deck is really solid, I think. Let's go ahead and talk about Mitsurugi Yummy. Some of these M boards are absolutely crazy. I mean, there's no real like debate here, right? It's obviously one of the best decks in the game, if not the best in my personal opinion. Deck is absolutely crazy. Like, everyone thought that like Mitsurugi was gonna get demolished on like the ban list, but it wasn't. Surprisingly, I'm genuinely surprised that it wasn't destroyed on the ban list, and because of that, it rose to prominence, and it is just dominating the game right now. it's being thrown together with like every single deck because it's a small engine, right? Like you could throw it together with anything and it's just gonna work. Let's go ahead and talk about. You're gonna have to give me a moment. Why is OSS banned? Chat. Why is OSS banned? Why? I'm happy. D-Bell starts at 3. One is at 3. Snake Eyes at 2. Poplar's at 2 or 3. One of those. It's more than one. I know that. But OSS is banned still. The main problem with the deck is of how many hand traps you can play. You can play through like 4 that are not like the blowout ones like Nib or Droll. But it's coming so much from the extra deck. You got rid of Apo. You got rid of all the problematic link monsters that it would bring out. Give us back OSS. But because of the amazing starters, you're going to see it. You have to play the right deck, the right engine. It's a low tier hero. It is a low tier hero. I don't think it's bad because of how the consistency pieces that it has. But it struggles. I love Centurion. I think right now the deck is even worse to play, considering that Branded is heavy in the format. And you got Bystials that are just going to like banish the monsters that you try to summon out. Raizio's out. Detonator not being in the format or as prevalent as it was. But this deck, yeah, you got Detonator, you got the Bystials. Everything's going against you. So it's not really like worth playing in my opinion. I'm sure you could find some sort of build with like White Forest or like other synchro base strategies, but not really worth it. So what are you doing, bro? And I love Centurion, the man with a mark. I think this deck severely underrated, given it does take a big like groovy brain to play it because there's so many layers, kind of old rulings on how trap cards work because a lot of them are like win. I think it's a very strong deck. It has a lot going for it, and it doesn't really get blown out by a lot of the hand traps that are in the current format. I think it's fairly strong in my opinion. So I would definitely put this deck in like mid-range. It has a lot of things going for it, just as much as like Striker, maybe not as consistent, but definitely better than these, in my opinion. Obviously Blue Eyes had crazy support last format. Maybe it was like one of the lower high to mid-range deck, because Raizio was just so prevalent in the format, and Detonator just literally one-offing this deck like very slowly. Because you just get the pop per turn. Even with all that support, it's a little hard to still manage in the current format, right? Like this deck wants to get monsters out on the field so they could synchro. However, Yummy doesn't really allow that to happen. And like other decks as well that just like literally like blow up the field, and you don't want to have like a dragon on the field as well for certain matchups. So I think it's still like it's a low tier hero deck, but I would say it's here because it's still fairly consistent with the pieces that it has, but it loses really bad to like Droll as well and like Nib. I've seen people even trying to play Denko Sekka as well against the deck, which is crazy, right? That card came out before I was like playing. I think that Draco Tail just won a YCS, fairly consistent. I definitely think that Draco Tail has everything going for it. It's a fusion deck, especially with like D-Barrier now gone. It's an even bigger threat. Man, I have to. It's one of the best in the game. One of the best in the game right now. Deck that I personally hate. I hate cards that like you can't really interact with. It's so freaking annoying. It's the name of the game. This deck is really strong, but it loses to blowout cards like Nib, loses out to Droll, right? Like decks that only play like Max Engine and don't have like a way to get over like a Towers monster. There's just no way to like out that card, right? You can't fuse with it, you can't synchro with it, you could only tribute the card, and it's like really, or swing over it. And that in alone, right? If they get to that goal, like that's pretty much GG's if you can't swing over it. There are ways, but like the Raigeki board and not once per turn, and they'll be able to use it twice if they have multiple, and then they have the Baguska on field, the SP. It's just, yeah, it's crazy. One of the best decks just loses really bad to blowout and like blowout hand traps. I think Despia, Draco Tail is strong because it just fuses with anything. It fuses with like hand traps, so it allows the deck to play like non-engine pieces. It fuses with pretty much everything in your hand, right? Yes, you do reveal it, but does it ever matter, right? Like, you're gonna use it against your opponent anyways. Whereas Branded has to fuse with specific cards. And I think that's the downside to it. Because you have to fuse with specific cards, not only that, but you have to play more cards. And that's the biggest flaw of Branded. It does, like, main engine, right? You got 3 Albaz, 3 Aluber, 3 Cartesia, 2 Quem, 3 Shrouded Dragon, 2 Branded Fusion, 3 Branded Opening. That's like 20, 30 cards, just those. And because you have to play such a big engine, it doesn't allow to give you room for anything else other than that. And the reason you have to play those engines is because you can't just fuse everything, unlike Draco Tail. Draco Tail has the ability to fuse with shit in your hand, fuse with anything, and fuse with the goddamn fucking nib. And I'm gonna make a board, have 3 cards in the back row, and 2 hand traps. Brandon has to use the whole hand to set up a board. If Branded Fusion doesn't get negated, yes, you have ways to play around it. Yes, you have ways to set up for it. But like the fact that you have to do that every time, and there's very little room for error with the deck, because the main goal obviously is to resolve Branded Fusion. You get to that point, they activate Ash. Well, I used all my engine pieces to get to Branded Fusion. A good player will set up just in case that they did. There's Fusion Deployment, Thrust, but those are just more pieces that you have to play. So, oddly enough, it's like at the bottom of really good, but like highest of mid-range. I'm gonna put it here. Sulfur Cord. Obviously, like Sulfur Cord, Yummy, Mitsu kind of thing. I've seen it once. I think it's pretty strong. I saw it at the YCS. I'm not like really sure where exactly it falls on this tier list. It's a lot newer, a little bit under the radar in my opinion. But because it could like work with Yummy, Mitsu, I think it's at the really end of mid range. Maybe like right here. Maybe like I think it's like right there. It's in that area. Let's talk about K9. Let's talk about Vanquish Soul. This deck was fun, bro. They hit it way too fucking hard. They hit it way too hard. You did not need to hit Ryzen and stake your soul to 1. You didn't need it. Yes, you could play the K9 stuff. Yes, the pure version is dead. But you didn't need to hit it that hard. I think it's like super mid-range now. It is where it is. Where it's at now is what it was before the support. Crystron, K9. I mean, they just lost the lock realistically. That's like pretty much it. But the deck is still intact. It's like untouched. You have like one of the continuous spell, but like you only ever like needed one realistically. Yeah, I would probably still put it to like really, really strong. Better than Branded Despia. Not as strong as Lunalight. Man, it hurt losing oh my god, what's his name? Splash Mage. It really hurt. It really hurt. This deck had like kind of indirect hits. Excuse me. Let me retake that. I'm speaking crazy. Direct hits because that was a Malice card. It was Malice Splash Mage. But I do think losing that integral piece really hurt the deck a lot. And not only that, it like really turned people off the deck. Now, that's another thing that we should always take into consider if people are playing the deck. The reason being is because more people play, more people will find tech, more people will evolve the deck, and it'll become the next thing, right? So because of those hits and how big they were and impactful to the engine and to the deck, really people kind of like fell off. Now they're getting back on. Again, LL Splash Mage, a very integral piece, and you have to have more starters now. It's a lot more bricky and doesn't play as consistent through hand traps, but it doesn't lose to blowout cards other than like Nib, right? Droll hurts it a little bit, but like you're not really searching shit off, honestly. I think that it's like it's really strong, but it's just no one's on it, and no one's really innovating the deck right now. Like I love White Forest, I love the art, they're super cool. Shout out to YME, who's also a White Forest stan. He loves White Forest, especially Silva. I think that's the card's name. Sylvia. I think it's Sylvia. Shout out to Sylvia. I haven't met her yet. Have they like the same problems like Centurion, right? Like they lose. Well, maybe not exactly because they don't. They obviously have to have bodies on the board, and Yummy just kind of shuts that down really quickly. But more importantly, it just loses so bad to like Nib, to Droll, loses to Ash. Well, maybe not Ash, but loses to like those really blowout cards. And because you have to use so much of your extra deck, and because of that, kind of fell off. Some of the support was a little lackluster. It almost has the same problem as like the Despia engine. You just have to play so much engine to play the deck. So I think it's like maybe like mid range. Oops, I would probably put it like right here. It's probably like mid as mid could be. The Water People deck. Shout out to Jarek for being the Sky Striker stand and the Water person. Yeah, I personally hate this deck. They can still play the Water Barrier statue. Yeah, I've never been a fan. But losing some of those like really important cards really hurt the deck. Mostly the Bahamut Shark. I would probably put this deck right here. It's still strong and it still has the consistency. But the problem with it is the threat that it had, it was really lost. I think it's good, but not like the best. Maybe it's a little bit over the trap deck. I think it's better than the trap deck. My first regional top was with Ryzeal, the mat you guys always see. That's where I got it from, my Melcharmy mat. When I went to the whatever the hell this is called, WQC, like Ryzeal and Snake have a special place in my heart. I remember I won the world champion, like 2024 event with Snake Eyes after the ban. Well, not the ban of OSS. So I wouldn't have been crazy enough to play OSS. After like the hit to like Poplar and Snake or Snake Eye Ash, it holds a very special place in my heart, alongside with Ryzeal because of those reasons. Ryzeal's still like pretty good. You got like the Onomat stuff that make it pretty consistent and get into the engine. The problem is that like it loses to Droll hard. When you play Onomat, you're losing to Droll. Like you are praying to the fatherly god up above that man does not, or that person does not have a Droll. And if they have a Droll, you're cooked. But if they don't, you should be fine. Because it's super consistent, at least the Onomat stuff. Because of that, I think that there is a lot for the deck, and I think it's like it's really strong. And it's pretty consistent. Like the one detonators just pop. Like it's good, bro. And you can just recycle it. Memento is definitely one of YCS. Still really strong. Loses to Droll. I think, like I mentioned earlier, no one's on it right now, or at least no one topped anything with it. And I think that's why it's like under the radar a little bit. That's why no one's like really playing it. I think it's still super strong. I think people sleep on it. I think it's right here. The board still is the Mitman Tauntland, like 5,000 attack monster, SP Little Knight. You just got to get there, right? And hopefully they don't have Droll, because Droll will literally stop this deck. Bro, this is like the mid-range deck of the century, right? Alongside like White Forest, but the Fire Kings is really good, really strong. Doesn't lose to blowout hand traps, Perulia or Fua, Nib, Droll. Maybe loses to an Ash, and that's why it's kind of lower tier. But it's really simple. It's really, I'm gonna swing, and hopefully I'm gonna pop. You know, and because I think it's like mid-range. Yeah, Chimera stuff. Yeah, this deck loses to Droll hard. Draco Tail is branded with no weaknesses, or the weaknesses that it has. You could play Little Engine and still be fine. Branded Despia is you're playing 50 cards for the main deck, no hand traps, no non-engine. And then Illusion is like what Draco Tail, but when you lose to hand traps, because it loses to Droll, it loses to Nib, it loses to those like big impactful cards that everyone is playing right now. It needs to fuse multiple times. Like yeah, it's a lot, right? But it doesn't have those same weaknesses as Branded Despia, where it has to play out the engine, but it loses to the same thing. But because of that, I think it's pretty mid-range. I love this deck. This deck is really fun. I was on it. You can play Branded like Chimera, but one of our last deck, Orcus Mitsurugi has literally gone nowhere. Orcus Mitsurugi, just as strong as it was a couple months ago. I think people are just not on the deck right now. It fell off a bit, I would say. It's really strong, but not as strong as these other two. But yeah, this is my tier list. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Let me know what you guys feel. Are these ratings good? Are they bad? This is just my opinion, guys. It's okay to be right or wrong. Just opinions here. Let me know in the comment section down below how you feel. And as always, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, guys.